All right, so tomorrow is going to be the day where I go back to my good old friend, 10 by 10. Uh, Today I kind of felt pretty good. My doctors are not sore anymore. I was in two minds um, whether to train the 10 by 10 today or not. I almost did it, but going into a night shift after a 10 by 10 is probably not the greatest idea because there's not going to be any recovery happening. So I thought, you know what, screw it. I'd rather go into a session tired than have a session and then not sleep. So tomorrow is going to be an interesting day. I've got things that I got to do as soon as I wake up. I've got a birthday party to go to, so it's going to be a case of get up after probably 5 hours of sleep. I'd say 4.5, 5 hours of sleep. I'll probably get up, go to and do these family things. And then come home and then get to 10 by 10. I'll do the 10 by 10 with 100 kilos. I'm not going to up the weight. I'm not going to do anything. I really want to see whether the body is going to adapt. I hope it does. A lot of these things are hard to control because how much rest you have in between sets, how explosively you move, and all sorts of things go into it. It's kind of very hard to control all these variables, but I'll do my best to go into each set when I'm prepared. I'm not going to try and do some crazy stuff like, the pig squat routine and try and aim for a certain time as well as a certain level or a certain weight. So anyway, I'll do that tomorrow and then I'll see how I recover. Maybe all of this that I've kind of gone through in the last 7 days has been a novelty thing. For the first time in my life, I'm pushing high volume squats while also pushing high volume, high frequency, whatever you want to call it, stretching. But I do want to say one thing. If any of you guys out there are feeling hip pain, here are two things that help. The first thing is lightweight for lots of reps. That has always helped me. That's always been something that I've come back to. And the second thing is stretching. This has really made me feel amazing. It stopped me from training with high frequency and high intensity. Maybe that's the real secret behind this. Or maybe the real secret is the actual stretching. But right now, the actual stretching is preventing me from going hammer on tongs on squats. So the first thing that comes to my mind when I think about these good things that I'm feeling is, okay, have I experienced this in the past? Have I documented in my journal in the past these types of things? I know for a fact I've documented many times high volume, light reps for many reps, lots of sets or lots of reps, whatever you want to call it. Sets of 50, sets of 40, 30 with the barbell, sets of 20, going up to like sets of 30 with 100 kilos, I think I've done. I think my best is 31 reps with 100 kilos. So I've done lots of these things. And then I started thinking to myself, why don't I compile each of these periods that I have, that I've had, so my run up to 200 kilos, run up to 205 kilos, run up to 210 kilos, 212 kilos. All the periods that led to 250 kilo deadlift to 55, to 60, to 65. All of these periods in my life I've written down. They're written down and I often go back and I study them. Depending on how this goes, it's early on, but I'm starting to feel really good in terms of health of the hips. This is also feeling really good, which makes me think maybe if I get to here one day, I'm going to be bulletproof. I'll be able to squat 200 kilos on a pair of hips that are able to do splits. To me, that is very appealing. So I've been thinking, and what I've started doing this morning, it's going to take me some freaking time to do this, but I'm going to try and do work on this on the background, is I'm going to start compiling 8, 10, 12 week periods of each of these periods of my successes, whether it be a 265 kilo deadlift, whether it be the 210, 25, 200 kilo squat. I'm going to be compiling all of these into an Excel spreadsheet, and I'll make it available for you guys. I'm going to call them my program. It's not going to be a program which I want to ram down your throat. I want to make these things available. I don't know how many times people have asked me, Van, can you just show me the journal? I do not want to show you the journal because my journal there's a lot of private stuff in there. You know, I write, milestones for the family. It really is a journal for me. So I don't want to make this, publicly available for everyone to see. Because in there I write things that I don't want everyone to see. You know what I mean? Like, if you guys have noticed this, that I try to keep my family as private as possible. I don't think everyone is suited. I don't think I would be happy to expose, people in my life to some of the trolls, to some of the hate, to some of the negativity in the world. I am bulletproof. You can't tell me anything. You can't scare me with anything, personally. But I do have second thoughts about, my loved ones. So I've kind of been in two minds about, some of these things. But anyway, so I don't want to show you the journal. But what I will do is, I don't know whether you guys care about this or not. I'm half doing this because of my own summation. I will be making into Excel spreadsheets. I will be writing, it's going to be kind of like, I'll be writing my thoughts. There'll be a written component, kind of like a book. It's not going to be a book like, 60 million pages. It's going to be like, let's say 8, 10, 12 week, every single set, every single rep, every single exercise that was involved in that process of getting to that 200 kilos, 205, 260, 265, whatever the case might be. I write all of this up for, I don't know how long. I went back and I started doing the 200 kilo squat, and I realized after a week, if I went back a certain amount of time, like week 7, week 8, my documentation has also evolved. So there was a point in time where I would just write the top sets. So say today I hit 220 on the squat, I'll just write 220. So day 111, 220. I wouldn't actually write the warm-up sets and everything I did. Just maybe like 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks, something like that, leading up to 200, I started writing everything. And so from day, I want to say 200 or maybe 150 all the way up till now, I've written every single set, every single rep. So what I will do is I'll start in the background to work on these things, and I'll make them available. You guys will be able to get your hands on that if you want to. It's going to be a way for you to support the channel as well. A lot of you guys have asked me for this. It's going to take a lot of work for me. So yeah, I'm going to have to see how I go with all this. I'll start off with a 200 kilo squat. And the other thing is, like my journal, like I've been talking about, it's not just sets and reps. I'll give you every single set, every single rep that I did, how I got to all the fails, all the good stuff. And then I will also include what I felt on certain days and what I thought on certain days. So then I'll compile all of those thoughts into a paragraph, into a page of write-up, and I'll make that available. And I will try and make all of these periods available, everything that led to a good thing. Maybe there's going to be 5, 6 of these, I don't know. And then you'll be able to see for yourself if you want to study the journal, my process, my journey, my mistakes. If you want to do that, you can. Up until now, it's been a complete shut book, and no one's been able to kind of look into that part of it. A lot of you guys have said, can you give me what you're doing? Can you give me an actual write-up? Can you give me a squat everyday plan? I'm not going to give you what you should do. I'm going to give you what I have done. And then you can extrapolate that into what you are doing. So I'm probably going to expose myself to a lot of criticism, like, oh my God, as if you did that, as if you did this, you're an idiot, you don't know anything about it. I'm happy with that. For people that care, they want to do this, it's going to be available. It's better than not being available, and we'll go from there. But it's going to help me also compile a lot of these positive periods, and it's going to be a nice, succinct file where I go in, I'm like, okay, so this is a good period. And the good thing about Excel spreadsheets is that you can actually start to manipulate some of this data. You can actually start to manipulate and work out, okay, where is the bulk of my work done? Was it in fact like, you know, back in the day, um, what's his name? Not Borysenko, Vukashansky, and all these guys in the Russian sports science, where they wrote that if you want to be a gold medalist, you have to spend the bulk of your time between 70 and 85% of your 1 rep max. That's where you should be spending most of your training volume. So let's see how it goes. You know, I'll be able to kind of manipulate and work out some of this stuff while it's on digital. So that's going to be really exciting for me as well. Now, the jerseys are here. I want to say to you, the jerseys are here, but I'm having trouble making it available. I tried Amazon. Amazon screwed me up. It started messing around. I tried contacting customer support. I couldn't basically become a seller on Amazon for whatever reason. They've been really difficult to work with. I just went, screw that. So I've gone over to Shopify. And I'm in the midst of setting up Shopify, working out the tax, working out how I'm going to sell it. Do I need a business number? Do I need this? Do I need all of these things which I have no knowledge about? I don't want to get slammed on the back end. I want to make sure everything is proper. I'm paying my taxes and all the other stuff. So I'm talking to my accountant. We're working all this out. So once I make all of that available, I will make the jerseys available. I've had the jerseys maybe now for 4 or 5 days at home. They're here. They're in boxes. They're ready to go. It's just the process is happening. And so the Shopify website is going to be it's going to be a website, and this is kind of one thing leads to another thing. I'll have the jerseys available there, and then once I start finalizing some of these programs, some of these mini little books or whatever the hell I end up doing with this stuff, I'll make them available as well on there as well. So lots of things are happening in the background. It's not just me stretching and squatting. I'm trying to do all these other things. It's uncomfortable to me to do this businessy stuff because I don't know anything about anything when it comes to business. I just want to sell the jerseys, but it's not as easy as that. I want to, you know, do this stuff. I'm invested a lot of time, a lot of money into this, and this is kind of the final step to actually realizing all this. So the most exciting thing for all of for me in terms of all of this is looking back into some of these journals and having like a, what was that word that I said before, summation of certain periods. And I can say, okay, this period leading up to 200, leading up to 205, leading up to 210, I can see that I've spent a lot of time with lightweight stuff. When I started doing 250, 255, 260, 265 on the deadlift, this is the common denominator. It's going to be very, very visible for me. I'll be able to compare, draw notes, and make, you know, it's a lot easier digitally to work out what I did, what frequency and whatnot. So I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be a bunch of work for me, but I think whenever you can learn something, it's always exciting. So that's what I'm doing in the background. And I dare say I will see a lot of common denominators, common patterns, common strokes throughout all of these successful periods. And I'll always, for some reason, move away from successful periods because of certain things. It's usually because of hip pain. It's usually because I push really hard and I develop some sort of imbalance, and then it scares me away and I run off into another track to work out how to address it. Maybe the case has always been, I mean, I'm saying lots of maybes. Maybe the case has always been, I've pushed for 4 or 5 weeks really, really heavy. Instead of backing away, going back to light stuff, I've continued and then I've regressed, hit a brick wall, pain started. So this will be evident when I start putting all this stuff into Excel spreadsheets. Maybe if I just backed off after 3 or 4 weeks of, you know, really, really hard work, going back to sets of 10, sets of 20, sets of 30, up to 50, I could avoid a lot of these painful things, which is, I can already hear you guys, Ivan, periodization. Yes, I am learning everything the long way, but I am also learning it with a vengeance. I'm learning it without just taking somebody's word for it. I'm learning it through anecdote. I'm learning it through real life experience, because that's how I truly know is when I actually feel it, touch it, and do it. So anyway, lots of different things to say, lots of different ideas, but I reckon a combination of high reps and lots of stretching of the adductors and my version of hip pain is completely gone away. So even now, I'll show you a video. I hit a 220 again for set of 5 or for the really high box squat. You know, usually that would kind of be really, really difficult and hard on my hip. Straight after that, I come in here. I'm still huffing and puffing and still sweaty. Still come in here, jump on here, and my hips feel amazing. Just simply releasing all of that tension that I've developed through that set, you know, I feel amazing. So I mean, you can stretch any which way you want, but I think this here, simply stretching the adductors is absolutely amazing. Whichever way you want to stretch the adductors, I feel like having a straight leg hits more adductors than having just a bent leg. So like a pancake type thing. This makes it really easy, like I'll keep mentioning. But yeah, high reps, stretching, and go from there. Go from there. Anyway, guys, appreciate you all, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.